Oh my goodness, it is the last day of the month. Like just like that, just like that. We think that we got all the time in the world to put up posts and invite people and do all the things, and just like that, we are already through the first 3 months of 2021. It's crazy how time flies like that. So we've got part two of our social media workshop tonight. I have hit record, and I know that we want to use the max amount of time. Here's what's cool is as we get this information the last night of the month and we head into April, Kayla, you know for sure we have launch in April. So we get to take some of this really cool information and implement it right away as we head towards a big launch of a Shaun T program in April. So no more just posting and hoping, or posting a picture of Shaun and going, he's awesome. Like, we're actually going to have a plan, and we're going to find the right people. We're going to connect with the right people, and we're going to serve the right people who are ready for this program and on for the rest of the year. So we are excited to have you back with us, Kayla. Did you see the comments last week? They were like, this is awesome. I need this. So
thank you so much, guys.
Home run.
So glad everyone loved it and love seeing so many people back for more.
Yeah, so you are the host, so you're good. You can share. Go up, everyone else, go up to the right-hand view and choose speaker view, because as she starts speaking, then she'll take up your screen, and you can also pin her. So in case someone, for whatever reason, gets off mute, like, come on. Like we've been doing Zoom now for a long time, right? Like Beachbody was doing Zoom before the rest of the world was doing Zoom. So like, you know how to mute, but just in case that happens, you pin her and then she'll stay on no matter what else is going on. So I'm going to hit that up in mine too. Record is happening. Kayla, you're up, girl.
All right. Awesome, guys. So welcome back. I'm going to assume that everyone already caught the first part, because last time we were definitely speaking even more social media specific, but this week we're really getting into even more business specific, because even though I started pretty much teaching strictly Instagram and social media based things, as I've really stepped into business with having a business on the online coaching space, and then also the brick and mortar side as well, I really have been stepping into, again, like business and really creating community culture, because I know one of your biggest concerns is being able to establish yourself as a really powerful leader. And then, of course, to be able to take that leadership to nurture your customers and your challengers into your business builders this year. Because honestly, I think that is one of the best ways that you can be growing this business, because as someone is a challenger, as we know, when done in a really strategic way, which I'm going to go over that with you tonight, you're going to be able to see how nurturing your challengers into business builders is one of the easiest things, because it's almost like it's pre-qualifying them and taking them through a training onboarding process before they even sign up, which helps you get leaders started so much quicker. But before we really, again, jump into CEO and leadership, I'm all about transparency. So when it comes to making the commitment to be a CEO, right, there are things that school doesn't prepare you for, the world doesn't prepare you for. So I get to be that preparation fairy godmother for you, and just really, again, share some things that I've learned, especially over the past year, to set the tone for really what we're getting into. And that is, of course, when we make decisions, as we grow our team, and as we have so many more people that are looking up to us to have the answers and to really show them the way, the biggest thing that I learned is to make business decisions that are rooted in business and not making it personal. And I know that's one of those things that's easier said than done, but I want to kind of get you to start to think about that. Are there areas in your business where feelings and taking things personal is affecting how you show up and affecting you being the leader that you really want to be? Not being a slave to your notifications. Again, the thing that changed my life is getting my email off of my phone and turning off social media notifications, because it's so easy to be a slave to the notifications. And that is one of the biggest things that I recommend let that trickle down to your leaders, which ties really nicely into nothing in business is an emergency. And I'm sorry if I cut out. Internet connection is unstable. I told the family, I said, guys, not now. Don't mess with anything. Go do Legos or something. Get off the internet. But nothing in business is an emergency. So again, being a leader, starting with you so that you can empower your leaders to prioritize time that has nothing to do with business before you prioritize time with business. And I'll be completely honest, when I did that, making more money became easier, which is not what you'd expect, but I got to share the good news, right? You can have your time and your business time. And then, of course, not everyone is going to like you. And that's what we want, right? As we talked about last time with, again, like really standing out and getting in front of people, there's going to be people that don't like that. And that's good. And I say that confidently because I am a recovering, not even just people pleaser. I want everyone to like me, even though logically I know it's impossible. So you know how I coach myself through it? I'll say to myself, name anyone who is known in the world. And I'll just pick a person. And then I'll say, are there people that don't like this person? It's impossible. There is not one person, especially someone in the public eye, right, who is liked by everybody. So that's how I coach myself through it and saying, hey, the bigger we grow this business, the more recognition, unfortunately, right? People like to rain on that parade. And you know what? When you stand out and you make a difference and that happens, even though it might sting sometimes, that's what we want. It's a good thing. It's a sign of growth. And then the most important point, the most important one, like if I could bold, underline, italicize this, I would, because at the end of the day, there's no amount of money someone can pay me to work with the wrong client. And I really want to empower you to do that, right? Like you get to choose who you get to work with in this business, which is so freaking cool, right? After so many years, and I know a lot of us, right? We were in jobs and are in jobs where it's like, man, if I could just remove this toxic character or this person that's draining me, like you get to choose. And I promise, no matter what, even if you might be like, well, like I might be able to like hit that rank, it's never worth it to sign the wrong person who's going to be a drain for you and a drain for your team and your leaders. Which leads us into like leadership, because people say like, how do you do it? Like, how do you show up? How do you do the things? And I'm going to kind of give you like some of my principles that I apply to my coaching business and to my brick and mortar agency where I have 4 employees who count on me. And so when it comes to like, what is being a leader, leadership in this industry, right? In network marketing specifically, in my opinion, right, is putting the needs of others before your own and prioritizing their goals before you prioritize your goals. Because when you do it that way, you hit your goals as a byproduct of that. But when you flip it and you put your needs and your goals ahead of theirs, you might hit yours, but it will always usually come at the expense of your leaders. So we want to make sure that we are right leading with them, knowing that our needs and our goals will be met as a result. And so like ultimately, like, why does this matter, right? One of the biggest complaints that I ever hear from anyone in this industry, right, is they have the hardest time retaining people. Like people sign up and it seems like this big revolving door. And the fact of the matter is, this is common. It happens to a lot of people. But having a major churn problem, like I'm talking on a monthly basis, you have to rebuild your whole organization churn problem, is common, but not normal. And there are some things that we can do that we can start right now to really help that. And it's not sexy, but I promise taking the time to really sit down and write some of the stuff out and put it into action, even if it's just little sprinkles, little baby steps, makes a world of difference, not only in the leaders that you have, but the leaders that you will be inevitably bringing on in the future. And so that first piece is going to be managing expectations. And so my best practice of managing expectations is to repeat them in every which way possible. Meaning you're going to say it, you're going to put it in an email, and when possible, you'll also say it face to face to them. And so when I say managing expectations, it even starts with, right, when we bring someone into the business, right? They see what some of you have been able to do, which is mind blowing, like the experiences and the recognition and the trips and all of that stuff, right? But you didn't just wake up one day and have that handed to you. You worked months and years to get that. So even though it might seem that people understand that, subconsciously they don't. So if they come into this business, we just assume that they get it and they don't, that can create a disconnect that leads to people leaving, even though they could very well be great for this business. So managing expectations, being real, and even on the conservative side about what it really takes, because you know what's awesome about when you're conservative about, let's say, how many people they can expect to sign to their team, when they can expect to hit a certain rank, when they do it ahead of time, that's the biggest confidence booster. Because you're like, holy crap, Sarah, like I didn't think that was going to happen until May, and here you are, it's March and you did it. That's going to be the confidence booster that they need to take the quantum leap to that next step. So managing expectations has so many benefits, but that's one of the biggest ones. And people also really respect when it's like, hey, this isn't going to be easy, because then a lot of people become natural at it and it feels easy to them. Again, they're like, man, I'm ahead of the curve. And that is also something that I learned from, again, managing a team, is being able to look for opportunities to give them a confidence boost that is of their own doing. The second piece is going to be boundaries. One of the biggest things too, right, is if people think that you are constantly always online, like even if you're just really good with planning your content and you aren't, they will think that they always have to be online, which kind of goes back to expectations. But when it comes to boundaries, there are so many levels of boundaries that we could talk about for ages. But ultimately, I think one of the biggest things is to ask yourself, if there's ever a time when you are feeling exhausted and just at that point of burnout in your business, where are there boundaries that could be put in place? And so some of the best examples is the notifications, that, and like how people can reach you. The biggest one is how people can reach you. Something we don't think we need to set up, but is so important. What are the approved communication channels for your challengers? When can they expect a response? And then I know where it becomes an even bigger sometimes line that gets blurred is with your leaders, right? There's a lot of us, right, who have like our leaders, they have our phone number and they can just text us, because we get so close where we spend so many hours a day and a week, month, and a year with these people, and you become friends. But when it comes to business stuff, in order to be able to avoid as much as we can, right, burnout, it's important to really establish how they can contact you and when you expect a response. And if you don't want people texting you, create another avenue and put that in place. And then the most important thing with boundaries, guys, and I learned this after I basically took myself down to the ground earlier last week, because I went against my boundaries. I had them and I blurred the line. And so I've not only burnt myself out, but I sent mixed signals to my people, right? And when you send mixed signals to your people, that is when miscommunications happen that can lead to problems that we can avoid when we stand strong on our boundaries. Because what you'll find, especially with your leaders, with your team, is that when you have boundaries, it empowers them to keep boundaries, and that keeps them happy in this business. So again, boundaries of communication, boundaries of how often you're online, boundaries of how often you're looking at your phone, whatever it looks like to you, that is one of the biggest things that can help fix a churn problem in your business. And the coolest part is you can reestablish boundaries at any time. And I'll tell you how to do it right now. If you want to write this down, I'll speak slowly. Hey, Sarah, I really appreciate your message. I know in the past we have been texting, and I love that. And I love you so much. However, I need to put a boundary in place to only communicate with my challengers via Voxer. And here's the key here, guys. It's always about what's in it for them, right? We're always going to go back to that. This is so I can make sure I do not miss your messages. So can you please send this message over there, and I will get back to you in the next 24 hours. So you send that message, you reestablish it, you don't apologize, you don't have to really defend yourself. You're saying, this is how me setting this boundary is going to help you. And then the hardest part is when Sarah forgets and sends you a text, you stand strong in the boundary and don't blur the line. right? Being a business owner, you got to have these like prickly conversations. This is hard, but it's going to change the game for you. And you're going to be like, man, I feel so much better about how I'm approaching this business and how I'm helping my leaders do that. And then the last one is going to be meeting people where they're at. I know that especially on the last day of the month, we feel like we just gotta like get underneath people and just push them, right? Like if you could just, I'll help you and this will be great, you'll be great. But rather than shoving someone up, one of the biggest things, and again, on all areas of my business, this has been a game changer. Getting on someone's level with them and saying, hey, like, I know it's March, March 31st. How can I best support your goal for this month? So instead of saying, hey guys, we're going for this big goal together, I recommend getting down and I know when it gets to a degree, right? You can't always ask each individual person, right, Julie? There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only so much we can do. But when you see people really like they're pushing hard and they're running, just saying, hey, what can I do for you? And just listen to them and see what they say. Because what you'll find is people will be a lot less disappointed. Let's say if they miss a goal, because now they're starting to look ahead. They're like, ooh, what can I do next? Knowing that I have my mentor in my corner who's meeting me where I'm at and asking how she can support me. And that's really, really powerful. Again, managing expectations and not assuming what our leaders need from us. Because we think people need so much from us, but honestly, it's usually just these little things and it makes a world of difference to them, but we don't know unless we ask. And then another big thing for addressing the churn problem in your business right now is making sure that you're pre-qualifying before you invite. You've heard me talk about it. I don't recommend just working with anyone, who comes to you and asks about what you do and just really being choosy about who you're bringing into your circle, right? And so pre-qualifying is such a great way to not only save you time and energy, but also save them time and energy if it's not a good fit and they're not ready for what you're doing. This gets you in front of the right people and brings the right people in for the right reason. So the best way that I recommend doing it is having these 3 main questions on every application that you do. These 3 questions and like non-negotiable, like these are like the most important thing. Anything else, it's cool, but these are the gold. Why me? Because you got to ask someone like why they want to work with you, because when they sit down and start to write it out, they sell themselves on working with you. No convincing from you required. Why now? This question is important because when someone starts to give an objection, you come right out and say, yes, Sarah, I know you just said about maybe next month, but in the application, you mentioned that now was the time that you needed to get it done because your sister's getting married next month. We'll just say hypothetically. What changed between when you filled out the application and now? And you're being direct, but honestly, that's what like being a coach is, right? It's asking the questions so that people come to the answers and come to the realizations themselves. And oftentimes that's the best way to overcome an objection because people say, oh, you're right. It's just this. So you get to the root of what the real objection is. And then, of course, I recommend this question being the last question. And this question being is one that's like an investment is required. And I'll kind of give you a little bit of a gist here if you want to write it down. I'll talk slowly about what to do. So I recommend one of either 2 options. I would say there is an investment required for my blank group, for my blank, mentorship. That investment starts at, $130 a month. Or for each specific program, you can say the exact price. So you can say it starts at, or just give what it is. I do recommend putting per month if it's something where it's like someone's going to be on an auto ship, right? We're going back to managing expectations. When you set that up from the get-go, you don't have to have awkward conversations the day before their billing comes out, because I get it. Like, no one likes surprises and you don't want to be the one on the hook for surprising someone. So set up the expectation from the get-go, right? Like, they're not just going to sign up and cancel the next month. Like, they're on this journey with you. Set that up from the get-go. So an investment starting at $130 a month is required. If you are not able to make that at this time, no problem. This just is not the right fit for you. This group or this whatever, insert whatever it is, program is for an individual who is ready to make an investment in blank. So whatever that outcome is of your group. How ready are you to make this investment? And I recommend this question being the only multiple choice question in your application. Because, right, why me, why now? We want to get their language. You want to know why? Here's a fun secret. Take that language and use that in your content, right? Why do people want to work with you? People join my program, people join my group because blank. Take what they say. Why now? Use it in your copy. Now is the time because blah, blah, blah. Take what they say, take out any, identifying details, but take the language. But with the investment one, this is an example of a micro conversion. So them checking that box on that multiple choice is them making a commitment to themselves. And so the options that I recommend putting are heck yes, I'm ready. Like send me the share cart, let's go. Number 2 is I'm resourceful and I can make it happen, but I have questions. So just because someone is on the fence, the resourceful part's important because it's not like, well, I can try to find it. It's like, I'm resourceful and I can get it, but I have questions, because then you're able to follow up and say, saw you had questions. I'm ready to answer them. Lay them on me. And then the last one, which is a little bit bold, but right, it's important because they need to make the conscious decision to click it, is I am not ready to invest in solving blank problem at this time. So let's say your group is specifically for weight loss. No, I am not ready to invest in my weight loss journey at this time. So it's like they're making a conscious decision when they submit that. And so when someone says like, I'm ready, send it, follow up. Awesome. I'm so glad you're ready to go. Is this the best email to send the share cart to? Someone says maybe, or the maybe option, but we don't put the word maybe in there. Don't do that. It's wishy-washy. And then the last one, if they're not ready, this can be a great opportunity to say, hey, Sally, I understand that this wasn't the best time or the right group. Can you tell me, you could ask, can you tell me a little bit more about why you chose that answer? If you don't want to be that direct, you can say, hey, Sally, I understand that this group wasn't the best fit for you. And you can offer them, if you're going for a challenge pack, you can offer them a bod downsell. You could also give them a free resource and keep them on your follow-up list for later on this spring. So one of the biggest, most difficult things to teach, and that's why I'm just barely grazing the surface because I just want to get your wheels turning, because I'm sure you can come up with a lot of awesome ideas, is the final point of addressing the churn problem, which is setting team goals, right, based on the goals of the members, and using these coaching strategies to really figure out what that is. And if someone is getting stuck, they're at a plateau, they're frustrated, and it feels like you guys are both button heads because nobody can figure it out. Here are some examples of coaching questions to work on with your leaders to kind of figure out if there is a problem, like how to get to the root of it. So what is the easy way forward here? If someone says, I just don't know, pose that question to them, because that gets them to start being more independent and solution focused on their own. It's a really empowering coaching question. Asking someone to identify how they're sabotaging their success, right? Because we know a lot of the times, right? It's ourselves. The only thing standing in the way is ourselves. This is an opportunity for them to recognize that there isn't some mystical roadblock out there that's, going after them. It is strictly what's going on inside of them. So with your leaders, this is a powerful question to allow them to see what's impacting so they can address what's happening and move past it so they can keep moving forward. And then one of my favorite questions, and I actually asked this in the sales process as well. It's a really good question. What is the cost of remaining where you're at? So you can ask that to your leaders, but also you can ask a question, to someone who's looking to join and start their own business, or even with your challengers, like, what is it really costing you? So if you get a money objection, this is kind of a great question to ask, because maybe they'll realize it's actually costing them a lot more to not take action than it is to take action, which is what 99% of people realize with that question. But again, like, we can say it, but it doesn't have the power because they have to realize it themselves. And that's really what being a coach is, right? Asking the right questions, not necessarily being the one to have all of the answers. So segueing into our second topic, which is nurturing challengers into coaches, we're focusing on 4 main things that we're going to be breaking down. So just to give them all to you up front before we dig into each one. First one is going to be communicating. What does coaching on your team look like? What is your team culture? Number 2, we're going to prepare them for what it's like to be a coach on your team before you even ask them to be a coach, right? Yay, getting onboarding done ahead of time. They get to cut a few grades, move right to graduation a lot quicker. Number 3, addressing concerns or objections inside of your content so that you can address them one-to-many versus always needing that one-on-one basis. And then the 4th one, creating leadership opportunities within your challenge groups that allow the natural leaders to make themselves known. So when it comes to number 1, really communicating via your social media content, what is it like to be on your team? And really, ultimately, who do you want to be working with, right? We talked about one of the coolest things, right, is you get to choose who you get to work with, which is awesome. But are you communicating who you want to work with and also like who is not the best fit for you? And honestly, the benefit of communicating who you don't want to work with isn't really to like weed people out per se, which will happen as a byproduct. The goal is to create that sense of exclusivity while also creating the sense of being inclusive and showing like, hey, like this is who I want to work with. This isn't. So someone who maybe has a couple tendencies will be like, ooh, am I that person? Oh, I'm going to really focus on these good qualities so that I can connect with this individual and see if I'd be a good fit to work with them. Communicate this on stories, especially when you're face to camera, when you're saying, hey, I'm looking to mentor X number of individuals. Don't just stop there. Say, this is who I mentor. This is who I mentor best because we jive and we get stuff done. And I love helping them achieve blank outcome. But also talk about it in your feed. Talk about it in your feed when you are doing an invite to work with you in the business. What do you look for in a leader, someone who you want to work with? Because this also helps them, again, get ready to make a purchasing decision and gets them thinking like, yeah, this is someone who I want to work with, because people want to know what it's like right before they sign up. So how can you show them, right? Because we want to do a little bit more than you just talking. This is an excellent opportunity for social proof. When was the last time you asked your leaders to share what it's been like to be a part of your team and how has your leadership impacted their life? We don't think to ask these questions, but what's so awesome are these questions can get people off the fence to join your team because they get to see, wow, someone who is similar to me had their life changed by working with Julie. I want that outcome. I see the symmetry. I want to work with Julie as a result. And so this is one of the easiest ways to utilize social proof in a powerful way, again, to get people off the fence, right? People have maybe been challengers for a while. They've been watching you. They've been thinking about it, but they're not acting. They're sitting. They're just sitting and watching, even though they know they want it. Social proof like this gets people off the fence. And it also showcases how you lead. It showcases how you lead because people are going to say, wow, like when I was in this difficult spot, Sally stepped in and helped me, and now I'm able to do blank. So a way that I ask this, because I ask this for my clients as well, I say, can you just do a quick 1-minute video of what was life like before working with me and what is life like now? And kind of giving them that little bit of structure, but still giving them creative freedom. Like you're probably going to cry when you watch the videos because sometimes we get so caught in the hustle, right, that we forget to really recognize. And for your leaders too, this can be a great opportunity for them to look back and recognize just how much they've grown, which is also a confidence booster. So don't you love when these things have multiple purposes? Like it's just a game changer. Number 2, preparing them for what it's like to be a coach in your group before you even ask. How you do this in your content is obviously you're sharing what you do on social media, but I want you to really kind of give an audit of, are you showing like what you are actually doing on a day-to-day basis? And I mean like the not so sexy stuff. Like if you were stressed out about taxes this year, did you share about that? Did you learn something new while doing your taxes this year? Did you share that? it's so much more than just the Zooms. And this is a way you can also kind of break up some of your content in stories, which is oftentimes called a disruptor or a social disruptor or a scroll disruptor. And what this does is it gets people really thinking and paying attention to you where maybe normally they'd just be tapping through. So this is a great opportunity, again, to show what it's like. Again, going back to our point of managing expectations, because I know we don't do this intentionally and we don't do this to be deceitful. It's easy to fall into a pattern of only sharing the fun, the glitz, the glam, right? Because it's like, this is awesome and I want to share that. But what your audience wants to see to help them have belief in this business model is what is actually required beyond just the amazing community, the trips, and the Zooms. So everything that you're doing, maybe I've shared how I am fighting to get my kids to be quiet, especially when they were a little bit younger before I do videos. And I've let it slip accidentally a few times in podcast episodes, like yelling at them to shut up. I'm like, I'm on a podcast. And I leave that stuff in there because I'm like, this is real. Like anyone that says that their kids perfectly behave when they're trying to create content is a liar. So showing that stuff so that they're not caught off guard, right? Because what happens is when we don't show it, and then it inevitably stress and roadblocks happen to your leaders. They're thinking there must be something wrong with me because Kayla makes it look like she's always happy and it's so easy. And here I am struggling. So of course, you don't have to share everything, but just give us a little bit of the raw and real stuff, even the stuff that's maybe a little bit hard to talk about. But this is what helps people, again, have belief in this business. Yep, my life 24/7. Yep. I struggle to visually show the work. So, and honestly, a lot of us, we don't realize what we do because we're so in our routine, right? It's like day in and day out. And I know we usually think of it first thing in the morning, which is why I'm sure a lot of you mostly show your morning routine because it's just when you think about it, it's right when you wake up. And then we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle. It's like, oh crap, I didn't share anything today. So a lot of it is looking at even jotting down for a sample day. What are all the things that you do? And so it's like, oh, the next time I'm going to do let me think of a business activity that's not super sexy that I do. Like planning team meetings, the things that go into that, sharing, yeah, I've been sitting on this outline and these are kind of the main things that I'm talking with my leaders about today. So kind of showing again, more than just the fun stuff. You're and if you're preparing to record a video, right? How do you set that up? What are you doing with your tripod? Are you doing something with lights? Is your dog barking? Show us a little bit of the setup and the maintenance, not just the perfect curated clip. It really goes a long way. Also showing how do you serve your customers and your clients. So as you prepare a meal plan or you are responding to comments, even kind of saying, I'm going through the Facebook group and people are asking questions about nutrition. And it got me thinking because so-and-so in my group asked this question. So showing the stuff, not always the fun stuff, but that also, again, prepares leaders coming in knowing little tidbits about what you do. Because a lot of it are things that they're doing if they like posting on social media and they don't even realize it. And then, of course, kind of like what I did with you guys today, right? Difficult business lessons you have learned because you learning it can help someone else avoid that pitfall. And I think it's really important to share because you'll be amazed at how many messages you get because you shared this. I was able to do, or I was able to avoid this. That's how you build trust and how you build rapport. Number 3, addressing concerns and objections in your content before you get them so they feel assured of their ability to have success working with you, right? People have so many, they have limiting beliefs, they have fears, and a lot of things. Maybe they've been burned by another company before. Maybe something happened and they're just so nervous. Or they, hear people talking in their ear about not understanding this industry, but talking about it, right? So one of the biggest things I recommend doing is keeping track of objections that you get, especially on a quarterly basis. And right, because sometimes objections change. The objections you get around the holidays are likely different than the objections you get in the middle of summer. Usually towards the end of summer, it's little Johnny's going back to school soon, check with me in the fall. So pay attention to when the objections come in and address them in your content, right? How many people have ever had someone say, oh, I couldn't do what you do, right? What a cop out. And then the next time someone says that, ask, what do you think I do? they're not going to know what to say because it's just a knee-jerk reaction. And that's a way that you can address, right, these objections. I had someone say to me today, I couldn't possibly do what you do. And I said, I don't think I've done the best job explaining about what I do. So you can turn that into a quote, again, not a quote, a post, excuse me, sharing about how you help people and what you help them accomplish. So you can kind of brag on yourself and what you are able to help your customers and your team members do, right? Another one, like, I'm not motivated enough, right? Like, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? So when someone says that to you, how would you respond to them if you were just sitting down for coffee? Take what you would say, turn that into a caption, because that way, when you are addressing these objections in your content, they're a lot less likely to come up in conversation because someone's been watching and you're doing the work of overcoming objections before you even get to them. And then, of course, I'm not salesy. Sharing with people, right, in your content, people think that selling is bad. Selling is not bad. When you go into Target, you're being sold, aren't you? So you can overcome myths and objections and teach on what you're really good at, right? Because if you're bringing people into this business, like, you're selling, and selling is not an icky word, right? People have a problem, you have a solution, presenting it to them, and the ball is in their court, whether they take it or leave it. So you can also kind of do, this is how I help so-and-so achieve blank, or this is how I help people achieve blank. Here are some other ways to create content based on these objections. Like, I understand why you think you have to be on social media 14 hours to have a business. I thought the same. I thought, how is so-and-so always online? But then when I got in the business, I realized it's all about planning ahead and posting later, not always filming in real time, as an example of something I know a lot of people do, where they're creating content and repurposing. So you can share and bust the myth of thinking you have to be on your phone for 14 hours a day. Yep. Money objections make me laugh. Yeah. So that is a great option, but also, right, usually when we get to the root cause of money objection, it really isn't, right, affordability. It's about seeing the value. So whenever anyone has ever said any type of money objection, or if they say something is too expensive, here's a response to use. Which part is too expensive? They never know what to say because it's not true. It's a knee-jerk reaction. And if you did have that one person, right, who was like, the shakes. Oh, well, perfect. Did you know that we have an option that doesn't have that? Perfect. I'm so glad we overcame that objection. What's the best email, right? But 99% of the time, they're not going to be able to say, they're going to be like, because it's not too expensive, right? It's about seeing the value. Something else too is asking someone who says it's too expensive, like, I don't think I did the best job I could have of communicating the value and how this is going to help you do blank. Is there something else I could include that would help you feel it's a better fit to help you achieve this outcome? And usually they just have a question that they're afraid to ask, or they want clarification on something. So money objections are usually always boiling down to something else. Oh, I love that, Julie, about, context of price. Yeah. Like, I would love to know what you're comparing this to. We can absolutely work through this together because I want you to feel confident in your investment. Like, I want you to feel good about it. And that's something that really helps people, again, feel confident about working with you, because it's like, I want us to work together to get through this, to get on the same page. I want you to feel good about your investment. 3 myths about creating an online coaching business, right? Like, what do people, have you ever seen that meme? It's like, what my mom thinks I do, what my friends think I do. It's like, you can talk about that, right? My friends think that I just take selfies and post them on Instagram, but it's so much deeper than that. Here are 3 things that I actually do that you wouldn't know because it happens behind the scenes. Here's a good hook. Like, this is like a really good, like, kind of like scroll stopper. Sarah told me that she thought blank, like something maybe really like outlandish, oh my God, and then jump into the post. Apple doesn't justify the cost of an iPhone. Yes, it's so true. So true. What's your monthly health and wellness budget? That's such a good question, because I bet 99% of the people you ask, they don't have a health and wellness budget established. So they don't know what they're going off of. So the next question could be, if you had to create a health and wellness budget, how much would you want to allot to it? Not how much can you, how much would you want to? Because, right, we're talking, when we like to talk about investments, right, it's about want. Like, you want this outcome. You want to be able to do this, right? Because people take actions based on wants before needs outside of, again, food, clothes, shelter. And then, of course, showing social proof, right? This is the biggest thing. Going back to it again, I know we talked about it last week, but it's just so good that you have facilitated. So rather than asking in a group, does anyone have any pictures from the test group? It's like, focus on who you've helped. It doesn't matter if it came out of the latest test group. So again, I knew I threw some quotes in here. I just couldn't remember exactly where I had them. But here are some different ways that you can ask your challengers and your team members to just create a quick 1-minute video answering this question, and giving, especially your challengers, kind of giving them a little script helps them feel more comfortable, especially if they've never created a video like this before. So this can help you actually get more personalized social proof. But again, if someone doesn't want to do a video, they can totally write and screenshot it. It's just as good, because I know some people just aren't super comfortable on video, especially our customers. Number 4, create leadership opportunities within your challenge group. Building like leadership within a business is something I've learned so much about this year, and just realizing how easy it is, but we just never think about it. So through your challenge group, I'm sure you notice that there are some people that are a lot more active than others. I recommend reaching out to those people and giving them an opportunity to step into a leader. So would you like to answer the question on this Friday's Q&A post? I am doing a live video. Would you love to come on that live video with me? And so giving people opportunities to start to do some of the things that you do in the business is one of the best ways. Again, when you bring up the business, it's like, you've been doing what I do for the past 2 weeks, Sally. The only difference is you're not being compensated yet. And I would love to continue working together. So when you present it, going from challenger to coach, talk to them about it like it's a graduation point. This is the next step in our working relationship. I have loved seeing you do X, Y, and Z, and I would love to be able to help you in that next step. Have you thought about doing what I do? I'm sure you've asked that before. I really love kind of putting the ball in their court. Like, have you thought about starting a group of your own? You've been doing so good showing up, and you're just a wealth of knowledge for these ladies. Like, there's so many people in your life who could benefit from this. What do you think about that? And so this is a great way, again, like, you're training them. So once they sign up, they already know so much about what to do. So rather than maybe getting going with their first group in month 2, they could probably kick it off with support from you to understand some of the back end pieces in the first month. And I'm sure, as we know, tying back into our churn problem, right, is one of the best ways that we can also help avoid that when it's the right people, is to help them make even their first sale, even if it's a $5 commission. If we can help them make that as quickly as possible, they will have so much more belief in this business, right? When they see that direct deposit hit their account, they're like, holy crap, this is real. Because until that hits, right, like, they're excited, but they're a little bit apprehensive. But once that check clears, belief, full belief. So when we offer these opportunities, pay attention to who's stepping up, acknowledge them, right? Just like if you were coaching like an employee, right? I recognize that you're doing so well with this. I would love to talk about how you can take this leadership and be able to apply it. You know, I saw you talking about getting ready for your family's Disney vacation. Like, wouldn't it be cool to be able to do bop, bop, bop? And I love that. That's how you became a coach, Julia. Like, it's so powerful because people don't realize, right? The same person who said, I couldn't do what you do, is the same one showing up at all hours, answering people's questions in the Facebook group, like cheering people on. I'm like, seriously? What do you mean you can't do what I do? You've been showing it. But I want to know, guys, has this stuff been helpful for you? I try to talk slow. I know when I get excited, I get going. So if you want to sound off in the chat, is there anything you feel like a little bit more clarity on? You're feeling good? Perfect. Awesome. And this is, again, what I said. This allows them to, again, to start doing some of the work. So that way, when you present the business, like you're already doing the work. Now you just get to help more people. And this is how you get to really see the helpers, right? Because the helpers really step up. They really do step up. So I just want to recap, and then we have, if Julie's cool with it, we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A. So we're going to recap. I have something to share with you if you want to continue working together after this, and then we'll do some Q&A. So just to recap, nurturing challengers into coaches, 4 main points. If you want to take a picture of this, go for it. Number 1, get raw, get real about the behind the scenes of your business. Share that, not just the fun. Share what it's like to be mentored by you via social proof. Ask your leaders, right? Showcase your leadership, not just about how much money is in the bank and your rank. Like that stuff is cool. But when people talk about what you are like, that social proof is powerful. It gets people off the fence. Address objections in your content, especially while you're enrolling for a sneak peek, challenge group, doesn't matter. This can apply to anything. Address objections. It gets people off the fence. And then number 4, create leadership opportunities so that you can take leaders that are natural and get them into the business quicker and get them making money quicker. I'm so glad you've been loving the podcast, Christy. Thank you. But awesome, guys. So before we jump into Q&A, I wanted to share something that I've actually never done on a call, which I think is really cool. It's been a crazy week. And I'm like, let's just be ballsy. Let's just go big. So what we've been doing is basically like the tiniest little sneak peek of my signature method of helping network marketers get away from cold messaging. So I have my signature system in a self-study program that helps you attract the dream challengers and the business builders without being a slave to your phone or a slave to the DMs. And this program, although it is for anyone in network marketing, I speak the Beachbody lingo. So you'll see most of that throughout. But this program has helped people reach Success Club with ease without feeling exhausted at the end of the month. I know it's the 31st. We're all exhausted, right? But it's possible to do it without stress and also achieving the next rank. One of my favorite things was someone who has been trying to hit diamond for over a year, hit diamond in 4 weeks of going through the program, which is one of my favorite things because as we know, with hitting diamond, so many great opportunities come out of it. But just to give you the gist of like really what we cover so that you can determine like, is this something you even need or not? We go through how to show up on Instagram to attract your people, how to find your people on Instagram, which is a big complaint I hear about, and have them find you, right? Because one of the most powerful quotes I heard recently is it's not about what you know, it's about who knows you. So how to increase awareness about you and your business. How to figure out what the heck to post on Instagram, because that's another big question I get all the time is I don't know what to post. And then how to no longer stress over creating content that's converting, that's getting people in your groups, getting people into the business. And so I never ever like do discounts on anything publicly. I really just don't. I just don't see the point. However, I am doing this just for you guys. You'll never see me talk about this on Instagram. I want to do a big discount for 48 hours. So through Friday night, if you want to grab the program, again, no stress. You know me. I'm not a hard sell. But if you use the code Julie, and I'll put the link in the chat, you will get $50 off of the program. And that is just for you guys. You are the code. I'm like, what should I do for the code? I always make long codes. I'm like, that's stupid. Make it easy. And what else is really cool is I'm creating brand new updated content. So you get the original content. And then when the updated content goes live, you get all of that included as well, which is really, really cool. So the code is Julie. I'll drop the link in the chat. And while I'm doing that, I want you guys to gather any and all questions you have for me while you have me here.
Kayla, tell me how long does the program have a time limit? Is it like
no,
like you said, 4 weeks, or is it they're in and then they're just in?
Yeah, you're just in. Yeah. And then you get the updated content. Cause I always hate when like people, like, you know, when you buy something and then there's like an updated model and you got to go buy a new model. I'm like, that's bullshit. No.
Yeah.
So everyone that's in, like, you get all the new upgrade and all the new content that I create forever.
You know what I love
about
anything like this? Cause I've been doing this for almost 13 years. I'm a member of a lot of different things. You know why? Because I never know what one conversation, one tip, one strategy, one something might either spark something in me or remind me of something. I have never asked anyone to make a video of what it was like before and after, being part of our team. I've been doing this a long time. You just said that tonight. Okay. So I was today years old when someone said, you should probably do that. That's the benefit of just keeping yourself in these rooms, because for me, what I've experienced, Kayla, you probably have too, and many of the coaches on here probably have. And I was just talking about it with some of my leaders today. Most of our friends, friend groups, peer groups who aren't in Beachbody aren't talking about goals and dreams and personal growth. And have you read the latest John Maxwell book? And are you going to this conference? They're not talking about that. And then you get here and everybody's talking about that. And the more rooms that you can put yourself in of people that are talking like that, it becomes your normal conversation. It becomes just this is what you talk about. This is your vibe. So even this many years in, I do all the things, even if I'm only touching on them just a little bit here and there, because I just never know what's going to flip a switch for me, or that I can share with my coaches. So
absolutely.
I recommend it all.
The duplication, right? Because that's something great to also share with people coming into your business is I'm learning all of this stuff so that when you start this business, you're at an advantage because of everything I'm learning, right? Yes. We're going back to what's in it for them. Yeah. And that's so, so huge. And I'm going to answer this question, but I'm so sad that Summit's virtual this year. I've been trying now for 2 years to do a pre-Summit event. I want to do a big one. Yeah. So I guess 2022 is the year. Then it will be really big. Maybe I'll have fireworks. Who knows by then I could be a real big deal.
I mean, we're all not going to know what to do with ourselves when we actually meet up in live. We're going to what do we do? Do I speak to you? Do we make eye contact? How do we do this now? We don't even know.
But 2022 is going to be here before we know it, though. I'm not one to wish time away, but we can look forward to things,
Yeah.
But I love it. How do you engage with people watching your stories who don't post on their page? So the biggest thing with stories, and my biggest thing, is I want to minimize the creep factor, right? Mm-hmm. Because you ever get messages, and even with good intention, the way they go about it's a little dicey, and then usually you don't open it because you're like, I got better things to do. Mm-hmm. So I usually look for a way to watch for their stories, because if they're not posting to the feed and they're not posting stories, then you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Mm-hmm. Because in my opinion, saying thanks for watching my stories it's borderline creepy, because it's you're a business owner, you got better things to do than to see who's watching your stories. You know what I mean? Yeah. So think about it that way. What I would do even before that is if you see something relevant, if they're voting on a poll or something, that might be an in. Or if you see them clicking on things and engaging, if you do a post that kind of relates to it, you can tag them and maybe try to engage in your own comment section. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of saying, hey, I see you, but I'm kind of keeping it public. I'm not going private just yet, because that's kind of a new barrier, a new way of getting a little bit more personal. So that's just what I would do. But it's hard. Yeah. Some people are strictly lurkers, and it's really hard to connect with them if they don't have a way to kind of open that door. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some people just, they might just watch you for it almost like you're their entertainment. And it just is what it is. So, I've said this to my team a million times. If I said it once, my husband is a football coach, and he always says, not everybody wants to be the quarterback. Some people really, truly do want to be on the scout team. They really, truly do. And that's what we need. Everybody. We need the people that are watching and supporting, because the best way you can support a female-owned business is to share something, to love on them, to whether it's relevant to you or not, maybe it'll be relevant to someone else. And we need more female-owned businesses. So just let them be there, let them support you, let them tell them thanks for cheering you on. And we never know, who knows what program might come along, what product might come along, and they've been watching you this whole time. You've been showing up this whole time, and all of a sudden there's that one Shakeology flavor that they've been waiting on, and there you are, and they say yes. We never know.
It's so true. And honestly, I share this story about when I started my business, how I kind of really got put on the map was someone who had never purchased from me, who put me in contact with someone who allowed me to get in front of their audience. And that's what kickstarted everything. Mm-hmm. So those loyal evangelists, even if they never buy, honestly, their connection, their support, their shout out can be worth way more than a monetary investment. So yeah, I agree. Definitely don't discount those people.
Okay, so we got a couple things to do tonight. Number one, everyone needs to take a picture so that you can put it on your social, because what's one great way to support a female-owned business? You share it. You share it. So you got to take a picture. Kayla, can you please put again in the chat your Instagram handle one more time?
Yes,
just
absolutely.
So they can make sure they're following you. And do you have a link to your podcast? Then maybe that is it.
Yeah, if you just search "Stop the Hey Girl" podcast on Apple and Spotify, like I better come up right away when you search that.
You do.
So yes, Apple and Spotify. And I hope you love the episode. There's some fun ones coming up. So.
Oh, look, Lauren, your podcast is fire. One of my favorites.
Thank you.
Podcasts are such a great way to get in that personal growth.
It's so fun. And I like to keep the episodes like pretty short, sweet, to the point, so you can get in, get out, go about your day.
Great opportunity to put something good in your head when you're getting ready in the morning, brushing your teeth, doing all the things. Okay. And then the link I know is in the chat. I'll have you send that to me also via email, so that can go out in my team newsletter. So we'll get that out to everyone. I'll send you the recording. We'll send everyone the recording. And this is y'all, again, I'm going to tell you again, how long have I been doing this? How long? Longer than all of you. And I'm over here taking pages of notes. You never stop learning and growing. We never know what the thing is that's going to, even just this, how much would you want to allot to your health and wellness budget? When's the last time I asked that? Not. So I wrote it down. You better believe that just went into my arsenal of tools. That's why you show up on calls. That's why you put yourself in the room where it happens. You never know what's going to click. So Kayla, this has been amazing.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. And again, Julie, thank you so much for having me. It means more than you can know. I love doing this stuff. This is my absolute favorite.
Hold on. I got to take a picture. I'm not even taking a picture. Yes. I'm over here telling everybody to take a picture. And
yes, even if you get an unflattering face, people post it, because that's fun to me. I love to see who can get the most unflattering angle of me on screen.
Oh, she doesn't know me, does she? She doesn't know me. I'm like, no, I'm going to need a warning. Okay, here we go. I'm taking a boomerang. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I give a warning. I don't need any of that. I do enough of that on my own. I don't need someone then posting and tagging me. I mean, I'm a dork enough without someone making it even worse when I'm on social media. So this has been awesome. Her Instagram handle's in the chat. I'll get the link also. We'll get that sent out. I'll get the recording sent out. And you know what to do. Go post a picture, tell her thank you, and spread the love. That's the best way to thank
guys. If you need anything, you know where to find me. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you, Kayla.
See you later.